Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LJs Garage. I am sitting in a 2015 Subaru WRX STI. And I've done a video on an STI one too many times. And do I ever get tired of it? Absolutely not. So anybody that's a Subaru enthusiast already knows this car. They already know all the specs, 2.5 liter turbo, boxer motor, 305 horsepower, 290 foot-pounds of torque, and all of those other numbers. So there's no point for me to dive into all that today. But in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about what happens when you buy a highly modified Subi. What does that actually get you? And should you do it? It all depends. Personally, I've had a bad experience with my old Subi. It was a 2013, and what ended up happening was I bought the car, everything looked stock, drove the car for about 3-4 months, and ended up having engine failure. So that was my horror story with my Subi. And just like a lot of younger car buyers and enthusiasts, we get into these cars and we don't really know what to look for. And so a lot of people, they buy these cars, they have their fun, they return them to stock, trade them in, the dealership doesn't know. They go to the car, buy the car, fall in love, all of that stuff. A couple months later, they find out that they bought somebody else's project. And I'm not saying I'm a Subaru expert or anything like that, furthest thing from. Yes, I love the EJ motor. Yes, I know a lot about them, and I love the new FA motors. But the thing is, you have to pay attention to what you're buying. And you have to look at the craftsmanship. Did they cut corners? Look at how they did their wiring. See if anything is messed up. So with this one, I'm going to have a little bit of fun driving it. But this one was recently traded in, and it was the perfect opportunity to talk about Subis. The goal of this is to tell you, one, how much I love these cars, but two, to tell you to be careful. And even though this is a solid motor at stock form, a lot of people, 305 horsepower is just not enough. We have no idea what kind of power this car makes with the mods that it has. And the dealership doesn't care to look into it. I could get a heavily modified car for a stock car price. That sounds like a great thing, but that comes with the possible risk of buying a nightmare car. And it's always like that though. But if you've been in cars long enough, you're familiar with that. Modifications don't increase value. They make your car specific to a certain kind of buyer who likes exactly what you like. So that's why returning it to stock and selling it appeals to more buyers, and that's why you get better value and it's easier to part out cars. This one was accepted the way that it is. So without further ado, I'm gonna pop the hood and we're gonna start there. Before I do all that though, I'm sure you guys want to hear how this thing sounds. Alright, she's purring. That's a nice little grumble. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Look at that, no check engine lights, nothing, tire pressure light, that's whatever, And Subaru did a good job with this in 2015. I mean, you're not looking for all this luxury stuff when you buy this. I've said that time and time again. And on top of that, if you're interested in one of these in stock form, I've got another one that I'm about to do a video on, but this one is just for S's and G's. Here, but listen. Oh, that rumble, that's the best thing ever. But we'll go ahead and turn this off. We'll pop this hood. You got your lip here, usually cosmetic. That's the bad thing with lips, is they're gonna get chewed up and destroyed. These need some love. Look in there, you got your hella horns, and they're just sitting in there, and they're not turbos or twin turbos or anything like that. This grille is not stock. This is all aftermarket. And let's pop this hood. And many of you already know what I'm going to point out. You see this name right there, Perrin? Great company. They make great parts, but they are not stock. And let's turn your attention to something even more obvious. Cobb, great company, also not stock. Take a look over here, another Cobb badge. Great company, also not stock. This intake, yeah, all that. And my complaint with this project is, I get it, you've got money, you dump parts, you buy all that good stuff, but then you cheap out on the important things. But it is just what it is. But something to look at, and just look around this whole thing. Take a look right there. More Cobb. Yep. Take a look right here. And that sounds good, you know, blow-off valves are nice and everything like that, but again, not stock. And then there's one last thing, I don't know if you guys picked up on it yet, but it's Mishimoto. It's nice for making some big gains. And there's probably other things in here that I've missed, like, you know, the aftermarket catch can, you know, there's a couple other things in here. I'm trying to see if I can find anything else. But these are the things you've got to look for and just check to see the craftsmanship. Got that strut bar right there. I mean, they put good money into it. Everything looks solid. So, you know, other than this battery being a little bit overdue on being changed out. Geez, I don't even know what the year on that is. But yeah, that's my point. Just look for those things. So we'll close that up and we won't dig too deep into it because, again, I'm not buying this car, but someone else will. And with all that, I mean, you just got to look at what they do with the car. You got your Vortex Generator, just cosmetic, but it's supposed to have some function where it helps with aerodynamics and breaks up the way that airwaves flow and all of that stuff. So that's a thing. They took off the Subi badges. I don't know about you guys, I don't necessarily love the tinted green tail light overlays. The rear diffuser is pretty solid. We've got an NVIDIA exhaust system. We'll go ahead and we'll pop this trunk. We got floor mats. Otherwise, everything looks pretty good. I mean, solid. So they did a good job of keeping the car clean. You can tell that some of this has been removed at some point. But otherwise, it's pretty stock looking. And that's why, you know, when they say to look under the hood, if you don't know what you're looking for, you should take somebody that does. And I'm, again, no Subi expert, but just some things to point out. Brakes look good. Everything else looks stock. Nothing catching my eye there. Everything looks good there. Just take some time to look around the car and see what it's doing and listen to the sounds. And I can tell you from the short time I've been in this one, it does need some love. So, you know, we'll go ahead and give it a start up here. Looks good. 6-speed manual, boom, boom, boom. But this thing is nice. I mean, overall, I think it's a healthy car. As far as the rest of the interior goes, there's nothing that I've spotted that's aftermarket or worth pointing out. But you got to feel for this clutch. And if you've never driven a stock one, that's something important to find out too. So that was one of the giveaways on my old car. That was my first Subi that I ever drove. And the only clutches I've ever driven were like Nissans, a couple Toyotas. So I had no idea what Subaru's clutch was like. And it's the same thing, you know, with Evos and any of these like sports cars. Like, you want to feel the clutch. You want to know if what you're getting has been beat up on. And overall, the suspension on this one, you can tell that it needs a little work. The clutch is grabbing, it feels good. No idea how much power this is making. You guys hear that? Blow off valve. So nice though. Alright, so it is a bad thing that there's a lot of parts, but you just got to see how the parts are put together, because expensive parts and all that stuff may not necessarily mean the person paid to have this work done. They might have done it in their garage, which a lot of the work on Subis is actually really not that bad. I just love these things, and there's never been a day that I've said that I don't miss my Subaru. Yes, it caused me a lot of financial heartache, and, you know, it taught me a lot of lessons about, you know, the importance of properly maintaining a car. And any person looking to buy one of these, I encourage you to get on the Subaru forums and pretty much learn what you can from previous owners or current owners, because there's a wealth of knowledge on the forums. Yes, you've got to deal with annoying forum people, and you know how they can be when you ask silly questions. You know, they probably will come across this video and roast me and say that I didn't tell anyone anything that they didn't already know. But in my mind, I wish somebody had told me this when I was shopping, because I could have prevented myself from making a $15,000 mistake. It is just what it is. If you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. All the support helps me have access to more and more cars and make more videos and have more fun driving the cars that I love before all of the cars become soulless electric cars. And I love electric cars for what they are. But at the end of the day, this grumble, this is the best sounding 4-cylinder I have personally ever been in. And the NVIDIA exhaust is one of the best. Cobb is pretty good. The SPT performance exhaust also very solid. And just, oh man, I just love this thing. I can't just, this is one of the best cars ever made. This is one of the best motors ever made. Crack this window so you guys can hear more of the sound, but I don't want to overdo it because it's pretty loud. Man, I miss being in cars like this because you just feel like a teenager again. Off-the-shelf tunes are great, but sometimes you do need to get an actual custom tune to make the most out of your car. Can't beat the all-wheel drive system. You can't beat the feel of being engaged in the driving experience that the STI gives you. And the WRX is a great ride. It's plenty for most people. Yes, the modern, new generation WRX is a little bit watered down compared to the old one. I guess I have to bring this thing back. And I don't want to. Don't want to at all. I love my M3 and I love a lot of the modern day sports cars. I know that I got a lot of Nissan guys pissed off when I said the new 400Z is just not enough for me. Like, it just doesn't do anything for me. I've been a Subaru Evo guy for most of my life until I became obsessed with German cars. And so that's kind of where I kind of put my heart is BMW. This just brings me back to a place where JDM cars, you know, were the best of the best, and it kind of stinks not having a JDM car anymore. They have a different feel that you just can't get from German cars. Maybe it's because German cars are so refined and they try to do luxury and performance at the same time that when you get inside of one of these, you realize that who cares about the luxury stuff? That's not what this car is about. And I miss that sometimes. But at the same point, I'm turning 30 and I like the comfy, I like the luxury, I like being able to switch modes in my M3 and have that awesomeness. And I got the dual clutch because sometimes I hate shifting. But now, going back to one of these, I realize that it's second nature to me. I don't even realize when I'm shifting anymore. And that's a mistake that I think that I worried about, being stuck in traffic and having to shift, or always being on these hills and my left leg getting tired and fatigued. But realistically, I don't have that problem. And I wish that I had gotten my car in a manual, because it's just the way to go. Especially nowadays, if you have the opportunity to buy one of these and hold on to them, do it. Because it's going to be a long time before electric cars can give us this same driving experience at this price point. No one's going to spend $100,000 on a Porsche Taycan and try to get the same feel when you can buy a $30,000 Subaru WRX or STI for a little bit more and actually get that fun and thrill. You know, even the new GTI, it's just a hot hatch, but it's just not the same. And at the end of the day, if you're going to buy one of these and you're not sure if it was modded or anything like that, the Subaru community is very helpful. So reach out to someone, take pictures, take a video of that engine bay, And I guarantee you, even in this video, someone's gonna say, oh, you missed this, oh, you missed that. Because there's always something aftermarket that you think is stock that actually might be more than it appears. And so it's kind of a fun thing for this one, because I know I missed things, and I know without looking underneath the car and maybe inspecting it a little bit further that there's stuff that slipped past me. This car is probably going to be sold within the next 24, 48 hours because, one, it's red, and two, it's an STI with a glorious manual transmission, and it's probably the peak for Subaru, you know. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for checking out yet another video in LJ's Garage, and stay tuned for more content. It sucks that it's a rainy, gross day, so I can't really get you guys the footage and the awesomeness that I would love to, and I normally do. But if you want to see what my normal videos are like, be sure to check out some of my other sports car type videos, and ignore the minivan stuff if that's not your kind of content. But I do like to get a little bit of everything on the channel, so thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.